Hi there, friends. Nerdy Nawg-Dawg Productions. This is for Chapter 6, Fraction Study Guide Review. These questions are very similar to questions, word problems you will see on your test. So, first question. I use 1/7 pound of cheese for each pizza I make. I'm having a party and we'll make 8 pizzas. There's my pizzas. How much cheese will I need? Well, we can always do this pictorially, right? And if we use 1/7 here, 1/7 on this pizza, 1/7 on this pizza, 1/7 here, and keep going. One way I could solve for this would be 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7, right? And just keep going until I have my 8 pizzas accounted for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Running out of space here. And let me put 1/7 on this side. Okay, so now I have 8 1/7s. I know my operations for adding fractions, which means my denominator is the same in this case. Therefore, I can go ahead and just add the numerators together. I should have 8 over 7. Denominator doesn't change, and since it is like, all I'm doing is adding those together. Can I ever leave this as my final answer? No way, because it is an improper fraction, that weird cousin that we don't invite to Thanksgiving dinner. It needs to be proper. How do I make this proper? Well, class, you guys know, what does this fraction bar actually mean? Division, you say? Why, yes. So then our question is, how many times will 7 fit into 8? Because when the numerator is larger or greater than the denominator, it means that there is a whole number available in there. So we can always think of this as 8 divided by 7, right? Or let me show it this way, because you guys seem to like this. 8 divided by 7. Now that you know long division, 7 goes in 8 one time. What's left over? Well, 1 out of 7 remains. So 1 and 1/7 is what we would get when we converted that to a mixed number. Now, what is the math of this, or how could we also solve for this just mathematically without all the pictures? Well, we could say we have 8 pizzas. Each pizza gets 1/7 of cheese, therefore 8 times 1/7. So let me put a line here. This is if we were just doing it mathematically, if we don't need the picture, then 8 times 1/7. How do I solve for that, class? I know that I can take that whole number and place it over 1. Now I have a fraction. Now, what are my rules for multiplying? Again, if you're struggling with any of these rules for operations, you need to go back and watch the Khan Academy videos. Rules for multiplying fractions: you do not need a like denominator. Doesn't matter if your denominators are common at all. All you have to do is multiply across. And of course, cross cancel if you can. 8 and 7 are not factors of one another. We can't cross cancel. Can't cross cancel with a 1. Therefore, I multiply my numerators. 8 times 1 equals 8. Denominators, 1 times 7 over 7. Just like we got up above, we know that we can convert that by saying 8 divided by 7. How many times does 7 fit into 8? Well, 1 time. What's left over? 1 out of the 7. Okay, next question. Miss Cummings uses 4 oranges to make 1/4 gallon of orange juice. If Miss Cummings has 12 oranges, how much orange juice can she make? Well, let's solve for that. So here are my oranges. She's got 4 oranges, and that makes her 1/4 gallon. So I'm just going to identify that up here. I know that I can make 1/4 gallon. Now, this is a fractions of set question. So we know that she wants to make 12, or she has 12 oranges. So here's 4. Let's add on another 4. That gives me 8. And if I add on 4 more, that gives me 12 total oranges. So again, we're just working with fractions of a set, and if I know that 4 of them together make me 1/4, then these 4 would make me 1/4, and these 4 would make me 1/4. So I know if I add those all up, that'll tell me how much total juice I have and can make out of the 12 oranges. So you can certainly add. We have a like or common denominator here, so that is going to stay the same. And then I just add my numerator, and that gives me 3/4. And again, you need to properly label, which would be gallon. Now, what is the math of this? If you don't need to show us pictorially, if you can go straight to the math of it, let's think about that. We know that 4 oranges is going to make us 1/4 gallon. And we have 12 oranges. What do 4 and 12 have in common? Well, 4 is a factor of 12. I know that I can say 4 times 3, and I'll end up with 12. So that gets us right back to this factor set. Maybe we don't need to draw it. Maybe we already see the relationship. I also know that 12 is a multiple of 4. If I count by 4, skip counting, 4, 8, 12. At the third count, I make it to the 12. So if Miss Cummins has 12